The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Now, the author of The Path of Least Resistance and the Tech Insider, David White.
And welcome to another wonderful edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble and lovable and squeezable host, David White, at the headquarters for technical trading and investing, TFNN.com. So what do we have going out here? Markets pretty much flat out here. 1 point on the S&P. Cash, we've got very light volume. We have about another point to go for a big test with 2 billion shares on the consolidated tape. We do have light volume, so everything will be around today. The futures have and consistently point to an expiration somewhere around 1450, so not much farther down. Of course, we've got a lot of earnings after the bell tonight. We've got eBay coming out. A lot of consternation on that one. The options are showing plus or minus 5% on eBay. So looking for a little confusion out there whether or not it's going higher or lower. So that'll be interesting. We had a couple, Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs up strongly. Merrill, not so. Just was kind of flat out here today. Today is January 16th, of course, and the 18th Amendment to the United States Constitution prohibiting the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors or beverages was ratified this day in 1919. Becomes the law of the land. I wonder if we're going to learn anything from that fiasco on what we're doing now. Basically, something that's kind of hated, most people don't believe in, and they're going to continue to push it. I wonder if we're going to have very many parallels to that. PBS has a great special that ran, 4 or 5 nights on Prohibition, so like 10 hours. Fairly interesting, and eventually everybody just kind of turned a blind eye to it. Kind of the marijuana dispute of its time. And the question is, are we going to go down that road again where we basically have a huge and divided America that looks the other way when they don't believe something that's imposed on them? One thing I didn't know about, if you watch that special, is just how many people were total drunks probably starting right after the Civil War. You had a lot of people that, I guess mostly the men, that were total PSD kind of whacked out from the war. They came back. Almost all of them found a home at the local tavern, and a lot of them drank themselves to death. A lot of people would go up and drink their paycheck on Saturday night, and the kids would be starving at home along with the wives. So the wives decided, well, we got to push this no drinking thing. Well, it worked for 10, 12 years? When in 1932, I think it was finally repealed. Everybody just finally gave up on it. Kind of an idea of finding something that will truly divide a country like we're going through today. Kind of interesting in the parallels in 1919, at least. So just something to think about. Other things in the news, we were talking about Goldman Sachs. They had pretty much blowout earnings. When we get to them, let me pull up a chart real quick. If I can get it over here. There we go. Goldman Sachs. Nice pop today. It's been trading above previous resistance levels. We still have a long way to get back to where it was at highs, but it hadn't been doing too bad. But we are pretty much at a fairly decent resistance level, and whether or not we're going to get past these levels that we saw in mostly in the late half of 2011 are going to be interesting. But when we go back, there's 5.5 million shares back in the, June 27th, 26th, kind of was a little shoulder, and we're up against in that area right now. High of 141.44 today. Lots of volume, almost 8 million shares so far. So not a bad day out there for Goldman Sachs. Merrill Lynch, of course, not Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, excuse me, had been flat, had been down, been up, kind of flat, mostly on the discussion of the earnings of, or at least the salaries of the head, Jamie Dimon. Not a lot to report in that either. So a fairly quiet day in Lake Wobegon, at least in the markets out here. Gold, pretty much a non-mover today, fell 80 cents to 16.83. It didn't do much. Silver up 4 cents at 31.53. What else did we have out here? Just not a lot else going on. Very quiet option expiration, and we'll continue to watch this market. But probably the most interesting thing is this lighter volume we have out here, and we keep getting up to about that 1474 area on the S&P cash, and don't see anything more on that at all. So we'll continue keeping an eye on it. This market could pull back on a options rollover on maybe Monday or Tuesday, but we could see maybe something like 20 points in the next couple of days. Did want to get into Apple. It had a nice little bounce out here. Options, basically, we're saying something like 520 on it. In fact, I'll go ahead and pop up a chart here for those people interested in what Apple is doing. But actually, I just updated my program for the expiration smile today on it. Let's see what we have here. Apple, see how it's tracking in. But I was going to say pretty much a good indication of that, maybe another 10 points or something. Very short, probably everybody shorting it in the world. And options would say, 520, 525, somewhere in that range. And it wouldn't be a big deal. We did have lighter volume. We've pulled back into this trading range. I suspect it may even take more energy to pop this thing down, to continue its ABC down. So we'll continue looking at this. But what do we have? Probably the worst thing about Apple is the lighter volume, 18 million shares. You would have liked to see this thing come back above that 505, probably with a little bit of higher volume today. But probably indicating that we do have probably a trading range now for probably in the probably 485 to 520, I would suspect, over the next few days, unless something drastically changes in the marketplaces. Still have a lot of push in this market, and we'll look at some of the other stocks out here. Wanted to look at Google real quick. I know there's a lot of discussion of that. Earnings coming out next week on Google. Right now, it is trading out at 714, down about $10. And Google has is much higher than the options would suggest out here at about 650. So they had basically a huge downside surprise in Google's setup. But of course, their earnings are not until the 24th, which is what, next Thursday. So maybe it was the 22nd, so it's Tuesday or next Wednesday. But these are probably going to expire way, way, way out of the money. But at $700, 710, somebody made about $400 million on the call sides, and of course are going to be big losers on the put side. If you are interested in looking at any of these charts, let's see what else we have here. Well, we'll go ahead and do Amazon here too. AMZN. Got some questions in the den on that. We'll get to in just a second. Let's see. We have lots of questions in the den here, so I'll get back to it. Amazon was printing off, still showing options expiration, showing somewhere around 240 on Amazon. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I think they're going to surprise to the downside on Amazon fairly soon. It's just hard to know. For a company that is able to have basically a PE of 500 to 1 or 2,300 to 1, depending on how you think that they're working the books out there, certainly giving a good signal. Any close below 264.11, which is the September 14th high again, would be a big sell signal. And I think this thing has room to go on the next big move down to 180. So be keeping a look on that. What else do we have? There was another question in the den about the Algeria issue where they've taken some prisoners. And this whole thing is about French involvement against Al-Qaeda, and so they took some guys. And I don't think there's enough oil in Algeria to actually make up a huge difference. And I didn't see much when the news was reported actually transferring into the price of oil today. Of course, oil numbers were out today. There was a little bit of a draw, but nothing to really say much. Someone's saying that the den is black, so let's see if we can get that fixed up here real quick and get back to my charts. Let's see. Anyway, back with Amazon. So now we'll be taking a look at that. But also in the news today, the fires on the 787. From reading the most current one, which was last night, it looks like the battery maker may have a problem with a certain run of batteries that they made exclusively for these Boeing airplanes. The batteries themselves were darkened, and some of the electrolyte had escaped from the batteries, and it looks like they may be a continuing issue. The question also is, when did France get a military? They've always had one. They actually tried to rescue somebody a few days before, and that's what everybody's all up in arms about in the Al-Qaeda camp. They ended up killing off all the kidnappers, and of course they didn't rescue the gentleman, but ended up killing a bunch of Al-Qaeda people, and now they're taking these other people prisoner, and it just goes around and around and around. Anyway, a little bit on Boeing. Boeing is down again, but it looks like everything that Boeing is talking about is that they've been able to locate this to a Yoshida battery. It's a Japanese battery company, and we'll see how that plays out. But still think it's still in the trading range. Nice little doji out here today. None of the planes have been grounded by the FAA. We'll be back in a minute. 877-927-6648.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Wealth Management. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportions of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley believes a carefully selected portfolio can lower volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what an asset allocation and a Morgan Stanley Wealth Management financial advisor can do for you. Call Angela O'Brien, First Vice President and Financial Planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Wealth Management, LLC. Member SIPC.
with the launch of Tiger TV. TFNN has brought our programming to the next level. With Tiger TV, you can gain access to each host's charts and computer screens as they host their daily stock program. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Ken Shreve, David White, Larry Pesavento, Victor Jones, or Carol Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV for your viewing pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't checked out Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com and see what you're missing.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective. Direction Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN is proud to partner with Great Panther Silver for another exciting silver coin giveaway. The Great Panther Silver Super Silver Giveaway begins the week of January 28th and will be choosing 47 lucky winners. It's free to enter with absolutely no strings attached. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com today to fill out your entry form. Every hour that we're on the air, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. the week of January 28th, we'll be randomly choosing one lucky winner that will win a silver coin or bar from Great Panther Silver and TFNN. And the final hour of the week, Friday, February 1st, we'll choose 3 lucky winners. That's 47 winners in just 1 week, with over $1,000 in silver given away to our loyal listeners. Register today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. And for more information on Great Panther Silver, you can click on their banner on the front page of TFNN.com or check them out on the NYSE Amex symbol GPL or on the Toronto Stock Exchange symbol GPR.
This segment is brought to you by Goldfields. For more information, just click the Goldfields banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we come back, the company is YUASA Corporation of Japan that makes those batteries. Overnight in Japan, I was trying to look for their symbol. I did see in the news that they were down 10% on the news. They're a fairly large battery company, but pretty much, at least the preliminary data coming back from the plane that had problems last night matched the previous plane in Japan where the exact same problem happened, and it was the same thing. The battery was darkened. They thought maybe it was a short in the wiring, but everything now is pointing to this YUASA Corporation and their lithium-ion battery that they made special for this plane. And apparently the first ones that they built, probably not too bad, but may have had a bad run of them in there. So we'll look at some other ones. Anyway, you can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. That's 877-927-6648. Some of the other things in the news that have caught my attention. There's a lot of talk about actually limiting the size of the magazines for semi-automatic rifles. Found it very interesting that in the area of 3D printing, a lot of people that are at least pro-gun advocates have already set up websites with designs for actually building just about everything in a weapon except the barrel. But their latest is a design so you can actually print clips with probably about a $3,000 printer. I imagine in a couple of years that'll be a $1,000 printer. But they don't work all that well so far. But I think eventually we're going to find out that the more CNC machines, 3D printers we have, the question is, are you going to ever be able to outlaw something that someone can actually build with these new technologies coming along? So just like the internet came along, it brought the good things and the bad things. It is going to be interesting how you challenge a future where it's kind of like Star Trek. You walk up to the replicator and say, I want Earl Grey tea steaming hot, and it comes out of the replicator. You could walk up to something and say, build me a rifle or a gun. Is there any actual way to, even with the new technology, to actually say people couldn't do it anymore? I thought that was rather interesting. One of the other things that we were talking about, the gentleman that was committed suicide on Friday, yesterday, at least one of the California Congress, I guess it was a congresswoman from California, has decided to add an amendment to the hacking rules to basically kind of rein in prosecutors when they go a little nuts. I don't know how far it's going to go, but at least there's a little bit of pressure. I guess probably I brought it up because it's near and dear to my heart. I spent 2 years on a grand jury. Some of the people that came in front of us, killers, murderers, pedophiles. You see a lot of horrible people. Saw a lot of mob kind of people. They dragged the... I was actually fairly young when I got sucked into it every other Friday for 2 years. But they found out that I worked and had Fridays off, and that was the end of it. In fact, they never asked me. They called the company I was worked for, found out I worked Saturdays and Sundays, had Fridays and Tuesdays off, and they decided that I was going to be impaneled because they could. But very interesting to see just how far prosecutors can go wrong, and the might of the federal government and even state and local governments can be massive against people if they are not well equipped with $1-million lawyers, because basically, especially when you get to the federal level, if they want you, they can pretty much spend anything they want. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes if you're going up against a kid with no money and he's looking at his father selling his house to get you out of trouble, when they're probably overcharging you, some of these laws need to be written a lot narrower. We hope that some of those things do happen. Anyway, when we look at the, let's see if I can find it here now. Yep, I had it here. Wanted to look at it real quick and just see what is moving in the NASDAQ. Of course, Dell coming off 57 cents. Basically said yesterday I didn't think that there was a whole lot to this. It was an easy way to short squeeze people out of their stocks. Netflix off 3.5%. We've got a lot of these stocks coming back in. O'Reilly Auto Parts off 1%. Expedia off 1%. Amazon off 1%. And we'll look at some other ones. What do we have on the positive side? Once again, Sears Holdings.
Just recently, on December 28th, Market Insight subscribers were advised to go along the QQQ, the NASDAQ 100 ETF, on December 28th at $63.91. And only 2 trading days later, after a huge jump in the markets, Market Insight subscribers were advised to sell the QQQ at $66.64 for a $2.73 or 4.27% profit to start off 2013. At the same time, Tom O'Brien had advised his clients looking for a more leveraged trade that they could have initiated a position in the QLD, the ProShares Ultra QQQ ETF, and over the same 2 trading days, Market Insight subscribers were able to lock in a $4.48 profit or an 8.47% gain in just 1 trade. Get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during your free trial and pay nothing. Don't miss out on the next great trading opportunity in 2013. Act today. If you're an investor looking for a great weekly investment newsletter, then now is the perfect time to try out Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Every Tuesday, Ken breaks down multiple sectors in his weekly newsletter, Ultimate Growth Stocks, with a full in-depth report including specific trading recommendations within his model portfolio, charts, sector analysis, upcoming economic data, along with intra-week trading updates on newsletter positions whenever the market dictates. Right now, you can receive a full month, that's 30 days, to evaluate Ken's newsletter free of charge to see if it fits your trading plan. At less than $75 per month, Ken provides you with his expert trading advice that can pay for itself in no time. Take advantage of this great offer by signing up for a 30-day free trial to Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks today. Don't let this offer pass you by. Visit the front page of TFNN.com and sign up now. Daryl Martin coined the phrase diagnostic trading, and we're happy to announce that his Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer has finally been released. The Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer helps you easily identify the best box spreads on Nadex in seconds, plus you receive access to the diagnostic deviation levels, as well as step-by-step training videos teaching you how to trade Nadex spreads so you can quickly master the mechanics of this simple yet powerful trading instrument. By pulling live data from the Nadex exchange, the Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer does all the math for you, calculating risk, reward potential, distance to break even for both outright spreads and spreads used to hedge the underlying market. Visit the front page of TFNN.com today to get your 2-week free trial to Daryl Martin's Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer and gain access to the valuable information it can provide when trading the Nadex box spreads. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's Nadex.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Crocodile Gold. For more information, just click the Crocodile Gold banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And as we come back, we are looking at the options expiration curve for the SPY again. This has in the 144 area. When we look at a current quote for SPY, it's 147. So could we have a little surprise over the next couple of days? Yeah, but it's pretty close. I suspect the S&P cash at something like 1450, 1455, probably the equivalent. And why is that? If you are looking at this chart, hopefully you are on Tiger TV, you'll see that we are slightly higher for the out month in February, and you try to average those out as a good example. But a lot of money to be made if they can drive this thing down just a little bit, just a hair up there, but $100 million, probably not a big deal. If you come out at 1460, 1455, something like that, would probably drive out the most amount of money in the next couple of days in the market, which is normally what happens in options expiration. Almost always a slightly bullish bias to the last 7 trading days of the month. Wanted to look at some other stocks here see if I can find them here. One of them was Netflix. It is down today a little bit. The word is, at least on the street, or the rumor is that Icahn is basically starting to sell a lot of the shares. He bought just under a 10% position in Netflix, and that was fairly, well, in the probably an average price if you listen to a lot of people in the upper 50 range. So he's had a nice trade here from about $60 to $100, and at this point, looking at trying to trim it. The at least talk on the street now is that he's going after RIG as the next short squeeze candidate up. And if you look at this one, he's done a similar thing in it, but looking maybe to push it a little bit farther out here. RIG is Transocean Limited, and it's had a nice little pop out of here. Not as strong as the Netflix pop, but not bad. But he apparently is, that's the next one on his hit list, so we'll be taking a look at it. And what else? Oh, I wanted to get to some of these stocks here that I was looking at over the last couple of days and see how, if any of these are moving. OIH is kind of interesting. This thing's been got a small trend line on the upside, and as we look at these numbers out here, in fact, let me pull this down so I can actually get back up and look at this. And we got crude up about 84 cents. Kind of sold off a little bit of a drawdown when they were looking for flat. So 94.12 on that right now. Natural gas is off about 3 cents. UNG is off about 2 cents, 19.33. Again, a very quiet market. I think I basically predicted a rather flat market, or said that at least the options said flat through the next week. Week ago, well, it could be a week ago Wednesday, right? And doesn't look like there's just going to be a lot of action behind a lot of these stocks. The OIH, though, could be setting up a fairly decent ABC down when we look at it. It has retraced to the 618 and actually just a hair over that. And so if you're looking for an ABC down, which I am, this is pretty close to where you would want to be pulling the trigger. The energy is significantly lighter on this leg back up from the leg back down, at least on the OIH and in the EFTs. But very, very light volume in comparison to the energy on the way down. We're pretty much into those candles that had the most strength on a kind of a little ABC down, and those dates are like the 18th and 17th of October. If you go back and look at those days, fairly strong volume. But as we hit the bottom and came back up, we really haven't seen the kind of strength that we saw on those days, and we're right back into those candles today. If you were going to pull the trigger on a crude short here, I would say that probably not a better day than today. One of the other things is you want to be watching this close out here today, close above 1474.5. Even with the light volume, suggests we may continue to creep higher in this market. Maybe just a few points, but you know, all we need is one big earnings surprise out here, and we'd see some different stuff. We've been looking some of the agriculture stocks. One of the ones that had caught my eye was AGU. We've been kind of following this one as it comes back up to these previous highs on basically half the volume. In Agrium, AGU, we're looking at the October 24th high at 108. It's coming within about $1 of that and going sideways. Really hasn't pulled back yet, but it also hasn't broken that high. We might see that high break in the next couple of days out here. That's really going to tell us a lot, but we've approached it with very light volume, basically half of those previous highs. You still have a very high volume low out on November 8th, which is always a reason to pause, down to $92.64. The other one we want to look at anytime we're looking at agriculture is MOO, M-O-O, the Market Vectors Agribusiness ETF. Another one that's kind of broken out. You had significant volume one day, 1.3 million shares on the 7th of January, but it was really a doji out here. You gapped up on even light volume in this thing. It seems very stretched kind of like the rest of the market out here. Energy fairly light ever since about mid-summer out here, so we continue to watch that. One of the other ones I want to look at while we're looking at that is corn. We talked about that a few days ago, having one of the largest days. That's continued up, having a little downside to it today. But corn, the Tecrum Commodity Trust, which is against corn, goes back to a lot of these kind of little gaps up that corn had basically throughout the summer when it really ran toward the end. And well, you had a low of on June 15th out there, and that's pretty much when the drought started in earnest across the summer, and it ran up. You know, when you really look at it, you're probably only about 50% off that high if you were looking at that. And, not a bad deal, but a lot more cows out there than a lot of people thought. A lot of people thought with the price of corn going higher that a lot of those cows would be slaughtered. And some of them were, but not near what they thought. And the demand is still fairly decent in corn. But if you want to look at this as a, in fact, I'll try to get a little better chart here so we can see what we have. Let me go back here. When you really look at it, let's go back here. You know, this thing is basically retraced 57% off of its highs. Probably not a bad part if you're looking for a long-term ABC, at least in the corn ETF. Could we be seeing one of these? I don't think that there's enough evidence right now. But if it does do an ABC up in corn, the Corn Tecrum funds show an ABC with just a 1-to-1 at $60.11. So on a long-term scale, this thing could be making the next, or at least starting the next big, huge run. With a kind of weak winter so far in the Midwest, we may continue to see higher and higher corn prices as we go forward. Let me see what else we have here. Chiquita Brands, another one in this sector as we look at agriculture. This one actually did break above a little bit higher on lighter volume, but closed back in the range on the same day, and has continued to roll back over a little bit. CQB is that symbol. Deere was another one that we were pointing out. Let me see if I can get a longer, and what we're looking at long-term in Deere is this thing is going up against the February 14th, 2012 high at $89.90. It's gone as high as $91 even. But the best volume we had was 3.2 million shares against that 5 million. As long as it stays above 89.70, you don't have anything conclusive. But you know, we could be closing under that today, and that may be the first sell signal on Deere. So I think we've got a, if we were looking at a market, especially in agriculture right now, we've got a lot of moving parts. They're all very close to these highs, and you know, one bad news day in the cycle, we might see corn and Deere actually break above these highs again. And I guess a lot of that's going to be on just how much snow the Midwest gets to replenish those low rivers, and of course help out the farmers too. Let's see what else we were looking at. We've been talking about housing, kind of rolling over here at the top, and we continue to see that in the juniors. MTH is one of those, Meritage Homes, and getting a little doji out here, but still very light volume in these, and we'll continue watching them. But keep an eye on that. The Pulte's and the all the other big Ryland builders out there still holding up probably a little bit better at these highs. Of course, Ryland still way up here at these highs. Let me see if I can't get just a little shorter time frame here for us to look at. Go to 1 year. And the volume, you know, this is a leg. The volume has kind of toned out. I suspect we get one more test of $39.92 on Rylan. That's going to tell us a lot. Basically had 780,000 shares on January 9th. Going to probably come in with about half that volume today. Again, we're not breaking that high, but I can imagine that we'll probably test it. I suspect that if we looked at the options in it, probably a lot of people are going to try to push this to close at $40 on Friday. National Retail Properties, another one in the retail, or at least in the real estate area. We've seen a very light test of the previous high. This is closing back below it. The National Retail Properties Incorporated symbol is NNN, and we might be seeing at least a temporary top in some of these. But this one came in with half the volume. It is going to be closing below the October 25th high of $32.39 that had 2.1 million shares. You came into it yesterday with 50% of the volume. You are now doing that reversal. This is the way a market should work. If you can't break out previous highs with at least near the same volume, you come in with about 50%, probably looking at some kind of pullback in the market. Another one that I've been tracking out here is Nucor. NUE is a symbol on it. It's attacking its previous high out here. Again, not a lot of volume. The February 9th, 2012 high was $45.75. Over the last few days, we're looking for about 3.3 million shares. We had about 2.4 as the highest volume within 0.5% of that high. And 2.2 million shares yesterday. Going to be another very light volume day when we look back at the broad markets. That's pretty much what we're continuing to see. Let's go back and see if I can get a current quote on the S&P cash. 1472 on the S&P cash, 2.3 billion shares. So again, we're up at these highs with very light volume. Just have to kind of hang on to here and see how some of these are actually doing. Apple's still at 407. Facebook is probably going to expire on Friday at 30 bucks. In fact, let's take a quick look and see. Yeah, I suspect when we get back to looking at the options, this thing's probably ready to be pinned. I imagine a lot of people are looking at this one. Let's take a look at it real quick. Yeah, it's probably most likely. It could go down just a little bit lower, but you've got the front month suggesting 30, or excuse me, February suggesting 30. This saying 27.5 for Friday's expiration. So probably put in probably our average those two, and you probably are looking at 25.80, something like that. Would not be unbelievable for a close on Facebook. Coming back a little bit, pretty much hit very high resistance levels in it. What else we have? We have OSH, PBC, Pilgrim's Pride Corporation, another one looked like it had hit its high. PPC on May 29th hit $8.68, 1.8 million shares. We've been in it 1.2 million shares, and we're going to be closing back below it. Another fairly decently good sell signal on some of these stocks in the market. We're going to look at eBay when we come back. Earnings after the bell tonight. See what they're saying.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to tfnn.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
Tom O'Brien's weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, has helped subscribers for over 10 years navigate the high-risk world of exploring and producing gold companies. And now's a great time to sign up for a free month-long trial to see the kind of insight that Tom delivers for his subscribers on a weekly basis. Every Monday, Tom O'Brien issues a quick update on the metal market, giving you his take on the HUI, XAU, GLD, dollar, bonds, and much more. Tom follows Monday's update with a full gold report, which is delivered to subscribers Tuesday afternoon with detailed coverage of 24 separate gold or metal stocks, as well as another 10 to 15 stocks that he lets you know are on his potential watch list. Get your month-long free trial to the Gold Report today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Don't spend another year navigating the metal markets on your own. Act early in 2013 and make the most of your gold and metal market investments. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Let me tell you something, folks. I have people coming up to me saying, I just can't believe the amount of work that Steve does on his newsletter. And I says, I absolutely agree.
That is a recent clip from the Money Masters show that Tom and I do each day at TFNN. My newsletter service, Mastering Probability, is much, much more than a newsletter. Yes, it's outperformed the S&P 500 by 100% during the last 15 months. But more importantly, it's an extraordinary education, a roadmap for your success. And it's yours risk-free for the next 30 days. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on my name, Steve Rhodes, and then Mastering Probability, because everyone needs a success strategy. For most, it's a competitive edge, the will to win, the drive to overcome any obstacle. Whatever you call it, winners find a way. Find your way to Mastering Probability today, because your journey to extraordinary rewards is just one click away.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
As we come back, wanted to look at the options for eBay. Again, earnings after the bell tonight. But what you see is fairly heavy protection on the put side, down to about 45. And when you look at their chart, their last major low was right at that $45.66 on November 15th. So I don't know what their earnings are going to be. Everybody's been pretty high on this company, mostly not on eBay, but on PayPal. Most of the talking heads on financial entertainment channels are very bullish on the stock, and you might see more of sell the news on earnings tonight. But I don't think it would be possible to see this sell-off on the news, even with some decent numbers, just because of the incessant pumping of eBay out here in the marketplace. And wanted to look at just a couple other stocks. Intel has been doing fairly good, but again, it's you could make a case that it's just doing a nice little bounce after a very long downturn, but it's getting kind of close to resistance. Its last major high was $22.54 on November 2nd. We're just about 30 cents away from that. I would not be surprised to see Intel expire on Friday at $22.50, basically hitting one of the major strikes and wiping off and out a lot of option positions, at least puts to the downside on Intel. The other one that everybody should be keeping an eye on right now is Walmart. This stock is down at the lows. It's one of the few out here that's not really bouncing, even though it probably should. It had a very nice test of the low with about half the volume. When you talk about giantly and majorly owned shares of stocks like Walmart, it's rare to see these things not instantly take off. This thing's gone sideways for a number of days, just starting to tick up here today. But normally you see kind of the pop back into the trading range like we saw in Apple today. Not much of a pop so far, and very light volume, especially with a test of the lighter low. You should be very watching this one, I think, and having it on your radar during the day. Not that I'm trading it, but trying to keep an eye on it and see where it's going. I dislike that it did have basically half the volume and still really can't pick it up and get it going, and continues to be weak out there. Wanted to see what else we had out here. We were talking about Joe also, which is another junior housing builder in Florida. This is another one that's come up and tested its major high and gone sideways with 3 dojis. You know, this thing is, a lot of these stocks are building up a lot of energy, and they're going to probably crack one way or the other. When you come up here and you hold a price like we have up here for a number of days, there's probably a better than average chance that you're going to try to spike above those highs at least one more time. And if the volume doesn't come in, that's normally when these stocks roll over. St. Joe, the symbol is a JOE, has been up at these highs. When you look at the last major huge move on November 2nd that had 2.3 million shares, we have basically got into that with 740,000 shares on January 2nd and gone sideways for the most part since then. These 3 dojis are probably the ones that interest me the most. Anyway, when we take a look at this, probably going to give us a good indication after the bell tonight when we see how eBay moves. We've got some more earners tomorrow, but just keep an eye on all those. But I suspect 1450 is where we expire on Friday. You all have a safe and wonderful day. I will see you tomorrow on the same bat channel, same bat time.